The world's largest real estate bubble has been developing in China, and it appears that the Ponzi scam is coming to an end. There is a real danger that this will happen, and if it does, the Chinese economy as a whole could collapse. It affects the economy as well, which is not good. Exaggeration of sensationalism to attract attention. I'll explain. Here's what you need to know about China. Unlike us, who have lived the good life to the fullest extent possible thanks to the country's wealth, China does not have a magnificent tower metropolis. Wealth and money are relatively modern concepts. Chinese people were unquestionably suffering from famines just a decade ago. And murders and cannibalism. Expulsions and violent purges are just a few of the unsettling things that are happening, but we can't talk about them without losing our money. Hence, you ought to visit the link. For our uncensored version, click here. The documentary will be seen. I'm putting out a handful of these uncomfortable topics, such as the forced harvesting of organs, and how this misery was made possible by communism. And as a result of communism, plus ones were prohibited from owning anything. Chinese people are unable to possess a home because, as you and I both know, they are unable to even own a square foot of land for personal cultivation. You wouldn't want to be a rapacious capitalist right now, after all. The Chinese government then arrived, though. They looked to the West to regain their senses. And realized how strong it was when the people you rule felt like they could own things in my house. I am aware that if I put in the effort, I can purchase a fancier house or car. If you don't believe me, plebs in the West actually don't own anything. Pay your property taxes late and observe what transpires. People in the West just believe that because they can own things and have a feeling of ownership, they put in extra effort. The effort will be made by the people. If they are doing it for their own self-interest, as opposed to some communist ideal, I would have assumed that they were the revolutionary Chinese government at the moment. You're saying that I need to put forth a lot of effort to mend my poor, damaged heart. My country's goal is to give my peasants a sense of ownership. Count me in. But wait, you don't want to give them anything. Still, you want to. Giving your subjects a sense of ownership while you maintain control over them. As a result, you decide to give up in the West rather than adopting a fully capitalist system. They experience a tiny bit of capitalism while working under strict confidentiality. So you delegate some authority to your subjects. You allow them to start now. Companies that let the West into China. Investing by foreigners in China. Most importantly, you let them know that they may purchase a property and call it their own even though there is still no privacy in reality. You're a pillion. I merely receive a land lease from you. It only lasts 70 years, and they don't genuinely own their home. However, it was successful. Remember when your peasants were staring? The plebs gained that sense of ownership, and that was the difference that made all the difference. It's as if you're facing death every day. Because they were unable to possess land but could now purchase real estate. They could be homeowners. It wasn't as a result. Many began investing their whole life savings in after foreign investors began purchasing homes. I became inspired to participate after seeing all of the growth. So they started to pour. Things started to improve and all of a sudden, China is wealthy with its economy starting to become the one that is growing the fastest on the planet. The regular people, on the other hand, have lived through hell their entire lives and do not believe that all this newfound affluence is real. They are aware that your money is complete. Why would you save any money if you believe your currency to be worthless? I'd like to turn as much of that money as I could into something. Your people won't keep their value, but your land will. They can't invest in the stock market or bonds because they don't trust those institutions, so their only option is to take measures to safeguard their newly acquired fortune. Estates, lots of estates. And it was due to a large number of overseas Chinese as well as these two exceptional Chinese families who were frantically seeking to purchase residences. China's housing costs. The biggest real estate bubble the world has ever seen, which I psychotically skyrocketed into, appears to be finally starting to break. My name is Jake Tran, and my team and I have produced documentaries on money, power, war, and crime so that you can see the world for what it truly is, a massive game of power acquisition from which there is no escape. Why not develop your victim skills? Your parents are both your friends and your teachers. You will never learn any of this from society. The massive Chinese hyperinflation means that we will continue to be in a precarious situation. On a related subject, I will acknowledge that I once had a thing for Russian girls. This is what I did. I have this app downloaded. The best language learning applications in the world choose Russian, also known as Babel, as the language I wished to study. Within a short time, I picked up some basic Russian phrases, such as Ani Duma and Anya Spasiba, music, and I can attest that it is unquestionably Russian. An excellent method to impress a woman or a businessperson is by learning a language. A relationship with, and Babel is the employment app as well as today's video sponsor. Babbling teaches you how to have real conversations that you will actually use, unlike most language learning tools. In the actual world, as opposed to just learning facts off the cuff as you did in school. 10 topics are covered in your high school language class in 15-minute interactive courses. Like partnerships in business travel, more, and what sets Babel apart is its award-winning technology, Babbel. Academics have empirically demonstrated this, from institutions like Yale University to assist. In just 3 weeks, you may begin speaking a new language. Yes, you heard correctly. Only 3 weeks. This is because of their excellent speech recognition technology, which helps. Along with other games, you can practice your pronunciation on the locations, videos, and even in-person lessons, and a 20-day money-back guarantee is also offered. You can then begin learning and seeing how far you can go before quitting. There are 10 million subscribers today. They keep arriving with a chatter in total. What if Babbel simply functions? A new language that you intend to study. You can begin using any language. I'm currently learning it with an additional 60. Begin your subscription by clicking on my link. Click the link in the description that follows. Babel is offering a 60% discount on your Babbling subscription as a thank you for supporting this video. Music. Chinese society is distinct from Western culture, centered on the family rather than the individual. So you're not the only one in China, after all. You are saving money to purchase a home for yourself. You and your entire extended family are present, combining all of your savings too. I'm taking this action because every family starts with. The price of buying a house started to increase. Prices continued to rise until suddenly, the typical household was unable to purchase them. However, the cost of homes only keeps rising. If I can just figure out a way to get my hands on a house, there's no way I can lose, and that's where loans come in, folks. They started borrowing money to take out mortgages so they could purchase homes. But they had no problem removing it alone due to the rising cost of homes. It is only rising. The mentality is the same. As a Bitcoin speculator, they feel secure as the price of Bitcoin rises. To purchase more Bitcoin, I took out a loan. Also, the timing of loan availability. The cost of the game continues to soar, owing to those who couldn't afford it. I used to own a house, and then I acquired a lot. Money to spend more. And in the population centers, where everyone actually resided, all of this new money was vying for the same residences, and made efforts to maintain property price growth to increase until even those with loans I could no longer pay them, but once more we need to purchase real estate to maintain it. We can compete for homes in places where people really live, but if we can't, I guess we'll just have to buy real estate in neighboring towns where it is much more reasonable due to our riches. There are no residents. Introducing ghost cities. Music. There isn't a single person to be seen in any of these enormous, brand new cities that are dispersed around China and are each adorned with showy monuments, parks, and skyscrapers as well as brand new roads and infrastructure. According to estimates, China has at least 65 million vacant dwellings. Only 1/5 of China's total housing stock remains. Enough to accommodate the entire French population with it. Here is what results from extrapolating out the instance we just described is. So what occurs when home ownership becomes so established in your society that you are forced to extend your search to include poorer options and worse places till you arrive? Nobody lives in the city where I purchased a condo and a tower since it is still under construction, and people tend to forget that someone has to create these homes. These phantom villages had to be created by someone. China's megalithic property developers have spent the last few decades making money off of the Chinese people's unquenchable appetite for real estate. Music. As a result, their wealth increased on paper, as the public drooled while watching the growth in property prices. Corporations that construct real estate. These residences were being built. Money they couldn't keep up with demand and were selling more homes than they could build, so they thought, why don't we just pre-sell a home? Meaning, why don't we get the money from the plebs first, where they literally take out a mortgage and start making mortgage payments before we even start building their home? And boom, it worked. Pre-sales went through the roof that weren't built yet. People were so desperate to get a home that they scraped together a new home in a major Chinese city costs more than what the average person would make in nearly 40 years. Even in one of the priciest cities in America, New York, homes cost barely 10 times the average pay. Condos cost 43 times the average annual salary in China, in Shenzhen, and 42 times in Beijing. How much higher can prices truly go when this occurs? How will the average working class ever be able to purchase a home? How much longer can this truly go until it collapses? Music. The Chinese Communist Party, also known as the CCP, quickly realized that continuously providing loans to developers so they could erect more condominiums wasn't sustainable. Eventually, home prices would rise to the point where people couldn't afford them, they would stop purchasing them, and prices would plummet, leaving the sector in disarray and the Chinese economy in crisis. As a result, the CCP did the only thing that made sense: they stopped Chinese banks and investors from providing so many quick and easy loans. The biggest real estate developers in China are all currently behind on their debt payments and are literally on their last breaths. So what did all of these developers do? They simply stopped building, and the homes that families had pre-purchased and paid mortgages for years are no longer being constructed, and the people are furious. Imagine taking out a home loan, paying your deposit, and making monthly mortgage payments. So the Chinese are in this strange situation where families have invested not only their life savings into random properties that no one lives in, but also on top of that they took out loans to buy these properties. A significant portion of them even bought multiple homes, and now they have to service those loans, meaning they have to pay off their mortgage every month. As a result, not only did they lose life savings, but a significant portion of their monthly income is now gone too, and as prices start falling, this situation becomes even more bizarre. Since the rest of the world must transact in dollars, whenever the United States prints money, the rest of the world pays the price. This is why when people talk about how advantageous it is for America to hold the reserve currency of the world, they are really just saying that America has been given the power to steal from the rest of the world by printing money. The actual power of holding the reserve currency is that America exports its inflation to the rest of the globe. Such a luxury is not available in China. China makes money manufacturing goods, the rest of the world gives them money, and they invest that money in speculative real estate. If that real estate collapses and the Chinese government needs to bail out the banks, they will have to print money to do so, and since they don't have the luxury of being able to export their inflation to the rest of the world, the Chinese people will be the ones suffering the most from the inflation. The thing about inflation is that it is a form of price inflation. The wealthy, on the other hand, invest their money in assets and items that will increase in value. The Chinese real estate sector has many problems, but it's not the only industry with problems. The Great Chinese Super Bubble is something the world has never seen before, and only time will tell if the CCP will be able to maneuver their economy out of this. Just take a peek at Victoria's Secret, a renowned lingerie company recognized for its angelic, tanned, and stunning models each year. Victoria's Secret has a sinister little secret they'd rather you not know about. C. Leigh Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret, is also best friends and business partners with everyone's favorite private island owner Jeffrey Dean. Beautiful girls as young as 17 who are willing to do anything for their career are recruited from all over the world to walk the runway in tantalizing lingerie. Yes, you read that correctly. The owner of a lingerie company that hires young girls to model its very sexy collection was not only business partners but also close friends with a man who didn't kill himself. Strangely, their friendship was particularly close. However, releasing a video about the man who didn't kill himself and his connections to Victoria's Secret and all the disturbing things they did would undoubtedly demonetize it. Instead, we released it as a private documentary that was uncensored. All you have to do to learn the unpleasant truth about Victoria's Secret and other subjects like the CIA's secret sites, the ownership of the world's food supply by Monsanto, and the causes of Middle Eastern terrorism is click the join button below. Once you do, you'll have immediate access to all the videos that are too risky or controversial to be posted publicly. Unlike universities, we won't try to extort thousands of dollars from you only for you to leave with nothing.